What is trauma recovery? How is it different to clinical therapy and self-development? And what sort of results can you expect? So here's the thing, trauma recovery is where I pinpoint and diagnose which childhood trauma that you suffer from in the first 8 years of your life that is creating you a lot of havoc, that's keeping you stuck in the past on replay. And I create a series of different processes where I engage in different healing modalities that are designed to release and purge out trauma. Not only psychologically, but also physically, because we do hold trauma in our body. It's called psychosomatics, mind-body connection. And we hold anxiety in our tummy. We hold control issues in our neck. We stay stuck in the past through our legs, right? So this is where we hold emotions and trauma in different parts of our body. That needs to be released. We hold trauma energetically, where we give off an energy where we're depleted, anxious, nervous, right? That means you suffer from trauma. Also, emotionally, right? You feel triggered, reactive, anxious and angry very easily. That's because you weren't able to heal and overcome a childhood trauma. And then it affects you psychologically, right? So you're aware that, this doesn't seem logical, but then there's another part of you that's like, but this person did this and that and blah, rah, 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 right? So you feel split psychologically, right? And this is where we hold trauma in these levels of our being. And this is where clinical therapy doesn't work for so many people. It's needed for people who suffer from neurological mental health conditions, 100%. But the reason why it's not working for the average Joe Blow is because they're only creating a clinical approach by talking about it in an intellectual level, which is psychologically. And trauma, as I've mentioned before, is held physically in our bodies, energetically, emotionally, as well as psychologically. So if we don't address trauma in these 4 levels, then we're not actually doing the proper work in healing it correctly. So to talk about it on an intellectual level keeps you looped and stuck and creates a codependent relationship with your therapist. This is the same with self-development, but on a different level. They have a tendency to work on energy. And what they do is that they help you clear some distortions in your energy or in your mindset, right? Like NLP, reiki, shamanism, stuff like that. And it feels good in the moment, but then you're not able to sustain it, right? Because they don't teach you how to reprogram yourself into a consciousness of unconditional love and abundance, which is your natural state, by the way. So how do I help people to become sustainable in their own healing journey? This is where I take trauma recovery to the next level. There's a lot of therapists and coaches out there who help people with their self-esteem and self-worth issues, but they struggle to help people with trauma. And if they do help people with trauma by using certain healing modalities to release trauma, whether it's breath work, for example, or seeing a counselor and just talk it out or vent it out, right? They're not teaching you how to sustain your healing practice. And what I mean is that you go for a session, you take what you get from it, but you don't integrate it. You don't embody the work, the energetics behind that program or session, because that wasn't taught to you, right? And this is where I'm different to the rest. I teach you and show you and train you how you can be your own mentor after you've worked with me for 3 months. Because I have no interest in creating a codependent relationship with any of my clients or with you whatsoever. I truly believe that your healing journey needs to be all about accountability, responsibility, integrity, and action. And to do that, you need to know how to be sustainable. You need to know how to build on your awareness after every single session. And I show you a way how to reprogram yourself from trauma to trust, right? From poverty to prosperity. From unconsciousness to unconditional love. And I show you how to create a practice every single day that's going to feed you into the energy of divine love, where you don't need to rely on a therapist, a healer, or a coach, or another freaking program to mentor you, to coach you, to heal you, right? I'm giving you everything that you need to know in 3 months to get to the other side and to continue the journey ahead without me or anyone else. And here's the thing, right? I'm not saying that you don't need to move on to another program or another mentor after myself or whatever it is, right? By all means you can. What I'm saying is that I can give you the foundation that you need to be able to do that on your own. And if you feel like there is a certain area that you're struggling with and you've embodied everything that I've taught you, that's when you move on to the next program or the next coach or the next healer or the next therapist to help you with that concern, right? Because the common problem and mistake that people make, myself included, right, is that we move on from one program to another, one therapist to another, one coach to another, one healer to another, because we feel like our problem hasn't been resolved because we haven't truly integrated and embodied the teachings and the energetics behind that healing session or program. And that's when we can truly trust ourselves. Okay, I feel that I've got this. I'm able to sustain this on a daily practice. This feels like second nature to me. I'm ready to take it to the next level by moving on to the next program. Can you see the difference there, right? And this is where so many people lose and waste so much money in self-development and therapy and a lot of time because they weren't able to learn how to embody the teachings and the energetics behind that session and program. So how does this give you results? Well, this gives you results because what I do is I don't do band-aid fixes and I don't create codependent relationships with yourself or with my clients. So I help you to bring awareness as to which childhood trauma or traumas that you suffer from, and I create processes in our private sessions together to start purging out and healing the pain from past experiences using core energetics, bioenergetics, character analysis, life coaching skills, body work, gestalt therapy, energy work, the whole lot, right? Healing modalities that specifically target in releasing trauma, right? So I don't fluff around. I help you to purge out that pain very fast in every single session. And what I do in between the sessions is I provide you support. I give you some practices and resources for you to absorb and embody so you can accelerate your results even faster. And by the end of 3 months, you know what to do to be able to sustain and take yourself to the next level. What sort of results can you expect to see? Personally, I was able to shift my consciousness levels around money. I was on the brink of homelessness, not just once, but twice. And in 2 weeks, I was able to generate close to 25K in my business, where I had a 3-month financial slump and I was so close to shutting down my business, but I was able to have the awareness to shift my program and release trauma that was keeping me stuck in poverty consciousness that is not mine, that's generational. And other things that I was able to heal was to I no longer suffer from panic attacks whenever a guy breaks up with me, whenever a guy disposes me, right? And I'm able to see the gift in the breakup rather than being attached to it and pity myself as to why it didn't work, why I felt rejected, why I felt abandoned, right? And another win that I was able to experience was to lower my anxiety levels and anger levels. I have the most incredible relationship with my mum, where in the past I would treat her like absolute crap, where I would swear at her, where I would bully her, because the way she conditioned me and the humiliation that I faced by her and by my dad, where I suffered from a lot of domestic violence and sexual abuse and bullying at home and in school, and I wasn't protected by my parents. And so there was a lot of resentment that I had towards my mum, more so for not protecting me from the abuse of my dad. And so now I have the most incredible relationship where I see my mum with absolute compassion and love, and I could see that this dysfunctional relationship we used to have is becoming more functional, more conscious, more loving, and more healthy because there's boundaries in place, and we were both able to shift our consciousness. And these are just some of the examples where I was able to shift myself. And I work with clients all over the world, UK, Singapore, Australia, and so much more, where I was able and still am able to bring my clients to lower their anxiety and anger levels, drug-free, right? A lot of them are able to have a better sleep at night. They're no longer suffering from nightmares. I work with clients who suffer from sexual abuse, satanic ritual abuse, domestic violence, emotional and relationship abuse, low self-worth and self-esteem issues, eating disorders, addictions, right? And we were able to break free from that because childhood trauma played a havoc and controlled their lives, and they were not even aware of it because they felt like this is normal. But really, it's because the wounded little child inside of them is calling the shots in their life. And this is where it's really powerful for you to have awareness around childhood trauma, how it plays out in your life, and how you can take back control as an empowered adult to turn this around and shift it very fast so you can have far more positive and supportive experiences instead. I have a client who says that she just cannot keep up with all of these job opportunities that's been flooding to her all over the world and wanting to pay her good money, and she just cannot keep up with all of these opportunities and interviews that's been presented to her, right? And this is what she got while she was working with me. Before she worked with me, she really struggled to find a job. It was hard for her to get an interview. So that's one example. I had another client who was able to receive a $15,000 pay rise in 3 months while working with me by switching careers because she was able to finally see her own self-worth. I had another client who was on a visa, and he was able to secure a full-time job as an accountant in the city at the peak of COVID. I had another client who was able to experience and be in a healthy and conscious relationship. I had another client who was able to stop in the first time of their lives, not have nightmares because they suffer from satanic ritual abuse. And they have the best quality of sleep ever in their life because of this work. I had a client who had sleeping and eating disorders, and she was able to recognize that the pattern of wanting to eat and vomit was coming from a place of self-hatred because of childhood trauma. She wasn't even aware of this until we did the healing sessions together, and she's now able to sleep more and more and more every single night. So, this is what's possible for you too. And here's the thing, does trauma recovery work for everyone? No, it doesn't. I want to be so honest and transparent with you. Trauma recovery is for you if you're not taking prescriptive medication, or I guess, having a heavy reliance on it. Trauma recovery is not for you if you suffer from neurological mental health conditions. I highly recommend that you stick to clinical therapy and group support. Get the support that you need. Trauma recovery is not for you if you're looking for a quick fix. Trauma recovery is not for you if you're expecting results just like that, right? Trauma recovery is not for you if you're a skeptic and you're not willing to be open and vulnerable to heal yourself from the inside out, right? So here's the thing, trauma recovery is for you if you do suffer from domestic violence, sexual abuse, emotional relationship abuse, satanic ritual abuse, low self-worth, or self-esteem issues, right? This is for you. You have the financial resources and the time and energy to commit to yourself for 3 months to get to the other side, so you can truly heal the deep-rooted cause, and you are no longer seeking a band-aid fix to try and fix the symptoms of your problems, when really we are here to resolve the root cause of your problems so the symptoms don't keep showing up in your life anymore. So if you are 110% ready, where you are seriously wanting to take yourself to the next level, overcome panic attacks, lower your anxiety levels and anger levels drug-free, and you want to experience emotional freedom and really reclaim your own sovereignty, your inner power and strength to embrace trust, not trauma, then I can help you. Simply just book in a free clarity call where we get to connect for 30 minutes over Zoom to see if trauma recovery is right for you, right? And I will let you know if it's not right for you, and I will do my very best if I can point you out into the right direction. And if it is right for you, then I will share with you my 3-month trauma recovery container called Find Yourself and Trust. And I will share with you what's involved, the investment, and payment plans are also available too. And what sort of results can you expect depending on your current situation and what level of trauma that you suffered, and what sort of results could you expect if we were to work together. So I really hope that this serves you, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side. And if you found that this information has been quite helpful, I will love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel wherever the subscribe button is, and I would love for you to comment below what you've learnt about trauma recovery, and feel free to share this video with your loved ones who is in need of hope right now and information that could truly support them to get to the other side. Blessing you with all of my love.